If I were to dangle a carrot on a stick in front of your face, would you grab it and then bam, you're hooked, man? I'm reeling in the fish, baby. It's a trap. And that's what these players today are. A bunch of traps that you should not be falling for. They look good. They look juicy. Ooh, Kenneth Walker, Chiefs, Super Bowl MVP, trap. We're going to talk about a lot of names today, man. You got to avoid, or you're going to be as dumb of you're going to be a rabbit that gets into a cage, bro. Don't be buying these players and losing value, because Dynasty's won and lost in value. Join the Discord down below in the description for the best trade advice. Smash that subscribe button. Name number one. It ain't Kenneth Walker, not just yet. It's Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams looks fine, looks dandy, but I see better toys. I actually had Caleb Williams as a buy when he was ranked around 25 earlier in the offseason. You're welcome, because now he's ranked at 14. I think he's fairly ranked, to be completely honest with you. I'm not saying he's badly ranked or that you should run to go sell him, although I would. The reason I think Caleb Williams is a trap and why I wouldn't be targeting him, I think his value is currently very high and very peaked. Looking at what Caleb Williams has done the last 2 years, fact number one, his rushing upside, we know. Year number one, 28 rushing yards per game. Year number two, 22 rushing yards per game. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's say he averages 25 rushing yards per game. And his rushing touchdown rate, not many rushing touchdowns, but let's just assume it's the same as 2025, 0.2 rushing touchdowns per game, whatever. His rushing upside is there. It's a solid floor. It's not negligible. It's there. But really, it's going to come down to, can he be a good passer? In 2025, his passing metrics took a big step forward from his rookie year, up from 208 passing yards per game to 232. Bad ain't bad. Up from 1.2 passing touchdowns per game to 1.6. Okay. Now, for him to actually return value here, where he's currently ranked number 14, he's not going to get better as a rusher. Like he might get to 30. We saw Justin Herbert average 18 every season. He just had a 31 rushing yard per game season. I mean, okay, it can happen, but you don't want to count on that. What we really need to see is a Drake May passing improvement. We take a look at Drake May, the current number 4 overall ranked player. You can see that in 2025, he went from 175 passing yards a game to 260 with a 1.8 passing touchdown rate. That's in the realm of possibilities here for Mr. Caleb Williams. But do we want to bet on it? I'm not ready to put all the chips in on Caleb Williams. I'm not ready to say that he's going to be able to take that consistent of a jump. I think that his passing as a whole, I'm a little concerned about. I'm a little bit concerned about his passing rate. 33 passing attempts per game with only a 6.9 yards per attempt. Take a look at Drake May over here. Let's just compare. Again, I haven't even looked at this. His attempts were even lower, but his yards per attempt were up there at 9. So he was chucking it deep. So I have my reservations. Let's check Jackson Dart and see what he was. We can't look at his average because his average is very misleading. We just check his average attempts per game. Jackson Dart, he probably averaged around 33. So it's similar to Caleb Williams, but his yards per attempt, where they were all green, he was averaging closer to 8+ yards per attempt. Caleb Williams, he's losing DJ Moore, whatever. He's got Burton. Burton's electric. He's got Odunze. Can he bounce back? I don't know. He's got Burton. So he's got the weapons, a lot of mouths to feed. I just don't necessarily believe in Caleb Williams taking that jump to consistently be a 265+ passing yard per game passer year in, year out. Now, he's got age on his side. He's got time to refine that. He's got Ben Johnson. Great situation. This is why I believe he's fairly ranked. I'm not saying he's overranked or anything, but I'm saying where he's currently ranked in value, let it sit. Let him simmer for a little bit. Again, you should have already bought him when he was 25th. You're welcome. And now just hold. Now he's in that holding period. And if you didn't buy him, let it simmer. I think there's a greater chance he falls in value back to like 22, and then you could buy him again. So that's how you play Caleb. Trey McBride. Trey McBride, again, very interesting situation. He just had the number 1 tight end season, potentially of all time. 10 targets per game, 7+ receptions per game, a very good touchdown rate of 0.6 TDs per game. That's 1 every 2 game or more. 19 almost fantasy points per game. He was a game changer. Insane. And guess what? The first 5 weeks of the year with Mr. Skylar Murray averages about 12 points per game, and then he catches fire with the Cardinals' current plan at quarterback, Jacoby Brissett. So it goes to strike your brain that it sounds like McBride's just going to keep that momentum rolling. Now, MSJ was dealing with injuries, a lot of mouths to feed. Marvin Harrison Jr. won some, Michael Wilson won some following his breakout. it doesn't matter because Trey McBride will be, no, don't mistake it, he will be the first mouth fed. I love Trey McBride as a contending team asset. I really think that Trey McBride is going to have another double-digit, very high double-digit season, 17 points per game, whatever it might be. But there's a tight end right behind him in the rankings that's 3 years younger. And he has had pretty solid production, 15 points per game the past 2 seasons for Bowers. Now, I'm not a huge believer in Mendoza and how he can play from a fantasy perspective, but Mendoza can be a solid pocket passer. With McBride, his first 2 years in the league, not great. 3 points per game, 11 points per game. And then we just saw the breakout year 3, year 4. It's 15, 19. So it took him some time. With Bowers, he's got 3 more years before he's even McBride's age now. I'm not telling you to sell McBride, but I'm saying he's coming off of the best performance he can possibly give. He's not going to give you 27 points per game. It's just not going to happen. So his value is only going to go down from here. We just saw it with Drake May. I told you guys that Drake May was a sell when he was number 2 in value. Now he's number 4. When you're at the top, you can only go down. If you're on top of a mountain, you can't climb any higher. You can only jump off the cliff, right? Or you can only trip and fall. So that's kind of how I'm playing Trey McBride right here. His value has peaked. There's not really much you can do. Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence has peaked in value as well. Young quarterback, so it's risky to say that, 26 years old, but I'm seeing one stat that's jumping off of the page. I think that T-Law had a pretty solid year in passing. His touchdown rate was 1.7, the highest of his career. But to be honest, and you might think that I'm going to say he's going to have passing touchdown regression, I'm not ready to say that. I think that he took a step forward in passing in terms of that. And I think that this Jaguars offense is legit. The new offensive coach, not bad. And then you have BTJ, he's going to rebound, so that's going to help this offense. You got Parker the Pest actually looking serviceable. You got Jacoby Myers, who's trash, but whatever. And then you have Travis Hunter, who can potentially break out as well. So he's got pieces. And he likes Brendan Strange. So I'm not saying that. It's one number over here on the right side of the screen, the rushing touchdown rate. He had the highest rushing touchdown rate of his career, 1 rushing touchdown every 2 games, 21 rushing yards per game. We're still going to see him scramble. We're still going to see him move. But that rushing touchdown rate does scare me for some possible regression here. I think he just had one of the best seasons that he can have. I think he was close to his ceiling. And I love selling guys when they're near their ceiling. Next name up, Nico Collins. The Texans' O-line is really the reason for this one, paired with Nico Collins' health. In his career, rookie year, 14 games. Second year, 10 games played. Third year, 15. Fourth year, 12. And then this last year, 15 games played. He's never given you a full season. And when he has given you a full season, he's volatile. Look at his game logs. 5 points in week 1, trash. 14, 22, okay. He's building momentum. 11, 16, ooh, man, that's hot. 6, what? 0, 14, 22, 24, bam. 8, 21, ooh, 16, 24, ooh, 9, 9, 0. I mean, you can't count the zeros because I don't even think he was playing those weeks. But, a lot of weeks where he was around 5 points or 8 points mixed in there, and that does hurt you. I don't like the volatility. Now, he'll win you some weeks with 20-plus point games, but I would rather have somebody that just gives you 15 points per game, every single week, consistent. You know what you're getting, compared to Nico Collins, who's volatile to begin with, and he has the injury history and concerns. Now, he is the alpha in this offense. You have Kirk departing, whatever. I think that with Tank Dell coming back and Jaden Higgins, and they brought in, I feel like they brought somebody in as well. I don't know, maybe I'm tripping here, but I'm not worried about target share. This is Nico Collins' receiver room to dominate. Getting old, 27-year-old, and he has the injury history. The Texans' O-line is sabotaging CJ Stroud's ceiling. It just screams sell based on where he's ranked. If you can get George Pickens, you can get 3 years younger at the position for a guy that just had 17 points per game. And if we look at Nico Collins and what he's done throughout his career, he's hit that in 23 and 24 in 2 breakout years. I just think that George Pickens is going to be more reliable with Dak Prescott, and the Cowboys going to be trailing by a lot, whereas the Texans defense is going to keep them in games, and it's going to be a bit more competitive, whereas the Pickens, they're going to be airing it out. Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is the biggest trap I've ever seen. This guy might be the most value-insulated player of all time. He's very young, 26 years old, not even. But the hype doesn't match the production here. Listen again. The production does not match his value. He's only been producing, for year 1, 12.6 points per game, trash. Year 2, 12.5, trash. Year 3, 14.8. It's still not good. Year 4, 14.2. It's still not good. It's not where I want to see him. Now, his touchdown rate took a step forward in 2025, but he only had a 7-game sample size because he was injured. Do we factor that in? And you could say, oh, he was just resting. He was slowing his injury return because, it's the Jets. Bro, they're still the Jets. It's Geno Smith. Geno Smith was absolutely terrible. What are we talking about? So Garrett Wilson is just scary. Like, he's quite literally in purgatory. We know he's got the talent. He's got the athleticism. That's why he's ranked so high. But you don't win Dynasty. You're just letting value rot on your team. You can get a Mika Ibuka, who, don't get me started here. He is very volatile as well. He averaged like 5 points per game the final 8 weeks, so it's scary. But with Mike Evans leaving, man, I'm going for Ibuka over Garrett Wilson straight up. I want something on top of it based on where the current Dynasty market lies. But like, look at Pickens. I'd rather have Pickens than Garrett Wilson because he can actually produce and give you some Dynasty week-to-week value rather than just being a shiny toy sitting, in your spot, getting you 12 to 14 points per week. Ken Walker, we're finally going to talk about him. We'll keep it quick because I feel like I keep telling you. Up 20 spots in the rankings. Listen, this one's very simple. We've only had one good season from him. 2024, he had 16 points per game. He had a very high receiving usage. I'm not saying he's not going to have that, but I also want to let you know that he is injury prone. In 2024, he had only 11 games played. In the first 2 years, he missed 2 games those first 2 years as well. 2025, first full season, lowest snap share of his career, 47%. Very simple math. Not even math, just use your brain. He just won Super Bowl MVP as a non-quarterback. That's nuts. Climbing off of that, he just signed with America's bandwagon, the Kansas City Chiefs. This is quite literally the highest I've never seen somebody have all of the stars aligned like Kenneth Walker just did, which is why his value shot up. No world should Jonathan Taylor and James Cook be achievable in 1-to-1 rankings with Kenneth Walker. So if he's actually valued like this, there are great names to pivot to. Absolute trap. Rome Odunze and Luther Burden. Let's pair them up here. So Rome Odunze, we haven't ever seen him give us a ceiling. We've seen that he's going to be that number 1 option here in Chicago. But now you have the shiny new toy of Luther Burden, where Odunze's never really looked. He's given us some flashes. Like if we look at his game log, we have 2 20-plus point per games in his rookie year. And then we have 2 again in his second year with 4 15-point games mixed in there. So it's all right. Again, I have reservations about Caleb Williams as a passer as a whole. And then Luther Burden's like a shiny motorcycle, bro. Like Luther Burden actually looks the part. He looks the real deal. He looks electric. I just think that having them ranked back-to-back next to each other, one of them probably raises in value if Caleb Williams maintains or takes a step forward. One of them will emerge as the favorite. I'm honestly staying away from the situation here because it just seems too scary to me. I don't know. It's a lot of mouths to feed. You have Colson Loveland mixed in there as well. I don't like taking the 1 in 3 chance of guessing right, who's going to be that guy right there. Christian McCaffrey is the biggest trap of all time. Christian McCaffrey, if you can trade him for Quinshon Judkins and get 7 years younger at the position, 7 years younger, or even Breece Hall and get 5 years, bro. There's just some players where I should be able to say their name and you should just listen to me and just I don't have to, in fact, we're going to do that. Get rid of Christian McCaffrey if he's on your team before it's too late. There's the analysis. AJ Clown, he's sitting at 64th in the rankings, 29 years old. He's going to be 29. And listen, he's good. And he's going to probably have solid production once he leaves. If he leaves Philadelphia, we're seeing a lot of rumors linking him to the Patriots, which could be solid. I think he'd have a good rapport with Drake May and having that connection with Mike Vrabel. So I think this could be a good fit for AJ Brown. I think he could be back up over 16 points per game, but he's approaching the age cliff, 29 years old. You're talking about only targeting him if you're a contender, and he's in a great tier of guys to pivot to. Javonte Williams, Harold Fannin, absolutely. Or tear down and get Tyler Shuck, one of my favorite buys currently. Scam Ward. This should be like Christian McCaffrey, where I just say Cam Ward and you just know, don't target him. It's time to let him, RIP. Cam Ward, they're going to try to keep building around him. Oh, we brought in Wan'Dale Robinson. Come on. Oh, we might draft Jeremiah Love. Come on. Cam Ward was awful. Now, so was Drake May in his rookie year. So I get it. He could improve. But Drake May in his rookie year gave you 23 plus rushing yards per game. Scam Ward gave you 9 rushing yards per game. and his passing was absolutely terrible. Now, he did, have a span of games here where he had 15 point per game, 16 point per game average, week 15 and 17. Should we give him a feast? Should we paint him a portrait? Let's relax. Everybody's glazing that he came on strong at the end of the year. Overreaction of the century. He's trash. Get rid of him. I'd rather have Tyler Shough. Straight up. So, 1-to-1 trade. Devante Adams. Final name of the video. Devante Adams is close to that tier as well, where you can get Shough, Tucker Kraft, Bashal Tutin, now that he might be the Jags RB1. Malik Willis I'd rather have. And Devante Adams is going to produce as well, as long as Stafford and Adams are healthy. See how that sentence is a little scary? As long as Stafford, who's 60 years old, and Adams, who is 60-year-old, and has injury history recently, as long as they're both healthy, he'll produce, because his touchdown rate, he just had one of the highest touchdown rates of his career, second highest since 2020 with A-Rod. His touchdown rate was 1 touchdown per game. I don't really see that changing, because that's how good Stafford and Adams both are when they get to the red zone. With that said, too much risk, and this is the highest his value will be for the rest of his career. Goodbye. Get the age reduction now before you lose the value. That's how I'm traveling. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know any questions in the comments or the Discord. See you guys in the next one.